want to hear about our trip to Bimini?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I have to explain the hair, right? You know, it's really, I've only been probably to about 4 or 5 different countries in my life, but I realized there's some wisdom in tuning into the culture just to be able to be more comfortable in a different climate. You know, so the first time we went to Bimini 3 years ago, which is in the Bahamas, I realized that a lot of the native women braided their hair. When I got on the boat and the trade wind started blowing, I found out why. So, the wisdom of the culture. So we're going to tell you a little bit about it, but first of all, because we are a community, welcome back, Sean.
Yay, Sean!
Yay, Sean! Sean was in the Navy deployed, and he just got back Tuesday, right? Last Tuesday. Yay, yay. So we're so glad to have you. Welcome.
And good job, Kim.
Oh, Kim was awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So here's what's really amazing about this tiny little island that is how many miles long?
3.
3?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3. You can walk, if you were to walk from where we're sitting now to the restrooms, you would be, well, almost to the beach. So we live on the bay because the boat's there. The retreat is on the bay, and you walk across the other end of this building, probably a little bit further, Chins, and then you're in the ocean. And so it's really a coincidence. So amazing. Because I downloaded this book before I went, one of Drumvalo's books, and as I got there and I was riding on the plane, he was talking about Atlantis and how they found the road to Atlantis right outside of the island of Bimini. They've also found a pyramid that was built in Atlantis off Bimini. So I said, this is going to be really interesting, right? It always is, but every year the energies are different and we're moving into it. So there's that. There's also an interesting thing where the people who are supposed to be on the boat, and there's only can be 20 of them, 20 of you, plus Tom and I, that's 22 is the max. So we notice that people get called, and we hear things like, I don't know why I'm going, I don't really like boats, and you spend hours a day on the boat. I don't know why I'm going, I'm afraid to death of the ocean. I'm afraid to swim, you know, I don't know why, but I'm here. So then, you know, then we go, oh, this is good. Because you think, you know, that the head stuff is, wow, it'd be fun to swim with wild dolphins. Swimming with wild dolphins is amazing. It's only a portion of why we go. The healing that takes place is stunning. But, you know, if you think about it, we are in this phase of manifestation. Matter of fact, my friend Stephanie Azaria, who writes, her astrology is the cosmic path, she's been calling these 3 eclipses we just had the wormhole of manifestation. But just, and see, because as the energies shift, we talk about this all the time, right? Our thoughts are manifesting instantly. So we had to go through a wormhole. We had to go through this sideways elevator to show us where our fear was and bring it up. And notice your life, whether you went with us in Bimini and you got thrown off a boat. No, it got thrown off a boat, but it feels that way when you're scared. When it was all time for the fears to come up, because if we as a humanity and as individuals manifest from fear, the world's not going to look any different. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the new. And new, right? And new also was the theme of it. So everybody, no one's exempt, including the retreat leaders, including the staff at Bimini, that's amazing. Nobody's exempt from having your fear button pushed. And, or whatever button needs to be pushed so that it's brought up, you look at it, you face it. So that was the energy, and of course, then we were there during the full moon and the last eclipse. So, but it was too, because it's us, because it's the soul pod, it's a pot of love. And that was the other theme, love. Renewal of love, a commitment of love. So basically and it starts when you land in Lauderdale, and we'd have a night there, and then you're taken to a little airport, and you get in these planes that are probably 30 years old. And when you're in a third world country, old to us are old. It's such a hoot, the difference. If our car is 2 or 3 years old, it's like, oh, I'm driving such an old car. You go there, and the insides, when the trash truck came up, and the guy opened the door to put the trash in, I said to people who were around, look at the front seat. It was there was hardly any seat there. You could see the insides, and
he was just sitting on the spring.
He was sitting on the spring.
No cushion.
But nobody told him there was anything wrong. It still worked. The car worked. So you get in the airplane that looks very old, and that's when it starts. The fears come up. If your fear of flying comes up, great. You're in this piece of tin flying over the ocean. And the guy, we were laughing on the way back yesterday because our pilot didn't say what they do in the big airlines. In case of an emergency landing. He said, well, just in case. No, he said, he didn't say in case. He said, if we land on the ocean, then do this. If this happens, then do that. It's like, really? It's like we were thinking, well, it didn't happen last time. Does that mean you think it's going to happen this time and you're telling us?
And he goes through this whole litany of stuff like, never heard so much negativity ever. And he's the pilot. If we make it across, but we hit the land and then crash on the land, what you need to, it's like, stop. Stop it. Please. If I had any fear around it, I certainly have it now. Thank you very much.
But see, it has to be brought up. Matter of fact, when we were landing, we were going to land in this, San Diego talks about having one strip, right? That's ginormous compared to this. You fly to this little island, one little, looks like a road, and we're about to land, and some little plane, because they don't have air traffic control, some little plane decides to take off right in front of us, and the guy has to go, and so it begins.
And then later, I saw the guy on his phone, on walkie-talkie, talking to that plane, and saying, hey, what's going on, man? The guy says, too bad, I'm taking off. That's how they operate over there. It's like, do what you want to do. It's like,
so
cool.
You can see how it's perfect, right? And the 4 or 5 people in your plane are just perfect for you because they're either really calm and you can breathe through it, or they're there with you commiserating and you're like, okay, I'm not crazy. So anyway, then we counted it, to get from the airport right to Bimini. It took us, from here to Bimini, you have to go 8 planes, trains, and automobiles, 8 shifts. So if you're not afraid of a plane, we'll give you a bus. Anyway, it all begins to start moving. But it never overwhelms you, because the other thing that happens is the beauty of the place and the simplicity of the place. Talk about eye candy. You've never seen eye candy. That's why we're all dressed so, the people who came to Bimini, so bright, because you're reflecting the Divine Mother's beauty there. And so, the energy of Bimini is interesting. It breaks my heart when I think about it, but I don't know where my healing is, because it was, the people there are from Africa, the indigenous are Africa, and one of the stories is that there were slave ships on their way from Africa to the United States, and Lincoln and all his friends abolished slavery. So they had these boat full of slaves, and they weren't going to turn around and take them home. That would be way too humane. That would cost them money. So they went to these islands that they found in the Pacific and just dropped them off. And so you can, the energy of, that's why it's so important, the heart, any heartache that we haven't healed, any sensitivities that we haven't healed, any closeness to spirit and nature that we haven't healed, comes instantly up when you step there. But again, it's balanced by the love, and it's balanced by the beauty, the unspeakable beauty. And at the same time, there's poverty. But we would look at them and say, they must be so unhappy. And they look at us and they go, hey, baby, how are ya? They love everybody. The greatest thing is to walk down the streets and be loved by the people of Bimini. Everybody fell in love. Everyone on the trip fell in love with the people and saying, So that's, it's a week of, we went, the first day we went out, and we were all exhausted because the energies were so heightened. We were exhausted, and we have found this big pod of bottlenose dolphins, which we had never swam with the 3 years we were there. And they were eating, which means they weren't going anywhere. So we had all this time to just swim with them and watch them, and they'd come up and be with us. But you get into such a place of trust. There were 3 or 4 just as large sharks down there. What are they, nurse sharks? And at first it's like, there's a shark right below me. And after 10 minutes, oh, look, another shark. Oh, well. Because we were with the dolphins and we felt safe. But there is the other thing that was amazing to me is that one of the days we went out, Tuesday I think it was, and there was a tremendous storm. And the people on the boat, they're very safe. We were swimming in the water, got out just in case, just in time, and then the lightning started. It was in the distance. They knew what they were doing, but it felt like and sounded like it was really, and then the boat started. Anybody's stomach getting queasy just hearing it? And the boat starts, and normally, it just blew us all away. Normally, you'd say, I wish it wasn't storming, and then we came out to swim with the dolphins. Now we can't do that. We would whine a little bit. Everybody was going, yahoo! On the boat, we were laughing and having the best time and enjoying the thunder and lightning and enjoying it's the thing about the dolphins teach us present moment consciousness, because they have to breathe consciously. If they forget to breathe, their life is over. They consciously have to come up and take air and go to their very present moment. And their brains are, what did Amla say? How many times older and more powerful? 3 times? Bigger brain. And they're older. So it's more, they've been on the planet longer, so they've been honed and perfected. So we learned just to breathe and to be in the moment and to say yes. But it's one thing to do it in theory, and it's another thing to be in that situation. So I think I'll pass it over to Tom because he can tell you his take on the whole thing. But we did then, because, I'll tell them about, can I tell them about your story? I'll tell them the one. So that was Tuesday was the storm. Now and it was a big storm, lasted all night. Storms are great. Storms clear the auric field. Storms break everything up so that you can't, you don't reboot the same way that you were broken up. Thunder, lightning, clouds, rain, they completely redo us and give us an opportunity to redo again. So then, actually, we had a Brian, who's not here, he went on to Africa, plotted a plan before he got there, and we didn't even know about it, that he had he wanted to propose to Brittany.
And you wear, please stand, Brittany.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yay, Brittany. He wanted to propose to Brittany, and he didn't have a ring because he's been doing some work and he didn't have the finances to buy a ring. And his mother said, "No problem. Your grandmother's ring is here. She never had any daughters. It's yours for Brittany." He didn't have to wait. So what we did is we usually at 12 noon on the boat, someone would blow in conch, and we'd go into meditation, into silence. So we had this little plan. Because we all were feeling that it was going to be a great dolphin day. This was Thursday. Everybody felt it in their bones, and our pod was together and moving through what we needed to move through. But so the conch, everybody was on. Everybody knew but Brittany. The conch blew, and Brian was afraid some people wouldn't close their eyes, so So I did, okay, guided meditation. Everybody close your eyes. And we did this guided meditation, and Brittany was right there. She was doing it. And then I had everybody, we were gathering things in the heart and connecting heart and throwing it out as an offering to Divine Mother and to the dolphins. And she was right there, and we had a plan that the conch would blow again, and everyone would open their eyes, and Brian would be on his knee with a ring, which is not an easy thing, because we had to wait till we were out away from the wake, because we were in a catamaran. Right? And we have it on, actually we have, not the film, but some pictures of the moments in her face, and everybody is beaming love, and she gets, by the way, she said yes.
Absolutely yes.
Absolutely. She didn't just say yes. Yeah. So I'm going to let Tom tell you the other piece of love that we had. But wait, I want to say one more thing. Sorry.
That's usually the way I do it.
I know, huh? I'm so excited. I am so excited. We did have two people. I just want to tell you, we did have two people who hadn't been in the ocean. Well, and you too, Nance, right? So 3 people that were scared to death. I mean, past life experiences, the stuff you don't reason. You're there. These poor people were spending their life saying, "I don't understand why I can't get in the ocean." I know. Now, I think Steven Spielberg has something to do with it, right? How many of us loved the ocean until Jaws came up? I don't want my grandkids to ever see that movie. It just ruined everything. So, but there's so much love on the boat, and the crew members are so good at what they do, and they are so dedicated to keeping everyone safe but giving the greatest experience, that by the end of the week they were doing outrageous things. And we had times we were so loopy. One night we had we were in hysterics over these noodles that we swim with. It was the noodle joke, Noodles Anonymous, because people were not having to swim with their noodles anymore. And so so it was just, it wasn't this, it was this. And everyone who came was healed. And they were out, don't bother me with that, I'm going, into the ocean. We're pretty high.
Yeah. So the Souls Anonymous around noodles is just like, you stand up and say, "Hello, my name is Tom. It's been 2 years since I used my noodle." Right? Everyone goes, "Oh, way to go." But
we were so
we
silly.
honored Brittany. So that's someone who was offered true love and friendship for the rest of her life. So that's quite a thing that happened. And could the 2 ladies, and the third isn't here, Laura's not here, but Nancy stand up and Nina stand up. They have overcome the fear of swimming in the ocean. So come on. Come on.
And they were noodleless.
They're noodleless. They're noodleless now.
So Noodles Anonymous.
They don't need a
have
noodle.
to be there.
We have a pen now that says 10 days.
10 days, yeah.
So I don't know about you. I mean, it sounds like, a lot about if you're not in love, you're in fear, and nothing manifests positively if you're coming from a place of fear. But come on. I mean, what would you do? And how quickly would you do it if you could overcome a fear today? Right? There's no small thing. And that's the power of the pod, number one, because the dolphins just represent impeccable, harmonious love and friendship in a pod. They always travel in 2 or more, whereas sharks can swim just me, right? But the dolphin, there's 2 or more, because it's all about the other dolphin and less about me. And then it's all about all the dolphins and less about me. And then it's all about the oneness and less about me. So there's a huge learning around this idea of what is, number one, my fear? What fear am I bringing? Because whether it's the ocean, if I feel comfortable in the ocean or not, I got a fear too.
And one person confided in me that her fear was other people, being herself in front of other people, and being in this pod and full of love. She said, "I'm out of it. I've broken free."
But everybody's a mirror there, because the water is crystal clear to 30 feet deep. You can just see the sand on the bottom. And people's eyes are crystal clear, and the locals, they're in poverty, yeah, they drink, but they do not have any animosity. They do not have any of this aggressive energy toward anyone. Everybody there is their brother and sister. So their eyes are clear, whether they've been drinking or not. And if you hang around with this notion that I'm coming here to change, you know, and it's not like the typical retreat where, you know, you have your downtime and your meditation time, though we did a little of that, and yoga time. It's a full-blown, here's what the pod is doing. And then, as Trish mentioned, we're out on the boat 6 or 7 hours a day. So you are constantly looking into this clarity. You're constantly looking into the eyes of love. And of course, if it's a dolphin, you have to have one of those experiences, as this would lead me to
And
the
everyone
thing.
does.
And everyone does. And so the fourth thing, so we have 2 people who've overcome fear, the ones that we know of. Inwardly, I had a big aha. Someone was proposed to, and that was the one who proposed to Brittany. When we had our group dolphin experience, it started on a tow line because they were traveling and we couldn't keep up with them if we just jumped in the water and tried to swim after them. No way. So they throw out ski ropes, a bunch in a row, and there's about 4 or 5 handles on one side, and you get 2 of us to a handle, and then on the other side, and you just get dragged by the boat. So you are keeping pace with the traveling dolphins. And on this particular day, the same day that you were proposed to,
It was our
right?
epic day. There's
Epic
always
day.
one
Epic day.
at least.
So that pod, the dolphins, thought this was the coolest thing in the world, to see all these human beings not like grasping because they had to hold on to this. They were just letting it be. So right away, all these dolphins gave each of us a private, personal experience because they would just come under us. And it's like it's like motions. They're moving at a pretty good clip, but you don't see any kind of struggle. So they would come under and maybe turn, and you get an eyeball to eyeball, or you would
This far apart,
this far. I mean,
right?
seriously, and they can see that part of their more evolved brains. They can see perfectly underwater. They can see halfway through the water and into the sky, and they can see perfectly when they're above water too. So they see what they're seeing, and or you get an experience where you see how they are constantly giving each other affection, and their little side fin reaches out.
They just
and
do
it
this.
It just pats. And then me and Glenn Frieder, they did that, and then you hear all their communication, whether it's the squeaking or the clicking, right? And so all of that is this huge mirror as well. And that it makes you vulnerable, really. And it also gives you the strength to not take your downside, your shadow side, too seriously, because a lot of us do as humans, and that's not a personal thing, it's just a human thing, right? And we all have our natures, our quirky natures, and we all have our Aries sign or our Gemini sign, and we can attribute a lot to who I am, to the astrology of who we are, and it does weigh in, definitely. I mean, you've heard the story of the tortoise and the turtle. I mean, the scorpion and the turtle. And the turtle wanted was going across this little bank of water, and the scorpion needed a ride to the other side. So he asked the turtle, "Can I jump on your back, get to the other side?" And this turtle says, "Wait a minute, man. You're a scorpion. I go out in the middle of the water and you sting me, I'm dead." And the scorpion said, "Yeah, and I'd be dead too. So what's the sense of that?" So he jumped on. And the tortoise, just wanting to befriend the scorpion, right in the middle of the water, the deepest part, scorpion stung the turtle. And the poison set in, and the turtle started to drown. And so did the scorpion. And going down, they were able to communicate, and the tortoise said, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? You're dying too." And the scorpion said, "Because it's my nature." And some of us are so ingrained, obviously, in our human nature. This is our, we're caged animals sometimes, living in fear and protected in our cage of limited consciousness. And what has happened to me and all of my ideas around it, which are completely untrue, and yet you believe them to be true. And if someone comes close and looks at you, even with the eyes of love, says, no, because you're afraid. You are afraid. And I'm just talking from direct experience. We're afraid. And we're talking about fear. You know who you're afraid of? You. First and foremost, you. The light of you, the goodness of you, the soul in you, the God in you. OMG, I'm scared of that within me. So all of this is a mirror, though, to address whatever it is that's up for you. And I'll tell you, we had another moment, which will then lead to my little aha, and then I'll close. We have another person sitting here that took another tack on this trip. We talked about Nancy overcoming her fear. What her husband did to match the love that his wife has for him, he decided to surprise her with a renewal of vows ceremony. After how many years, Mike?
16 years.
16 years. All right? So that was another ceremony that I conducted on our private beach. Before
Everybody knew but Nance.
Everybody knew but Nance.
Marcia brought a change of clothes. We got
And
flowers.
we planned a 5D ceremony. It was nothing traditional about it at all. And I'm not going to go into the details of this ceremony, except that there was not a dry eye in the place, I'll tell you. And the reason there wasn't a dry eye in the place is this. Have you ever had one of those dreams as a nightmare? And then you wake up and you realize you woke up and you go, wow, thank goodness. Right? And not only thank goodness, but you realize, wow, I was just dreaming that. And if it was something around your life that you realize I messed up here, or oh, that was such a horrible, and then you realize it was just a dream, and then maybe sometimes you get inspired to say, oh, wow, that was a dream and it scared me to the core, but I'm going to do something about it. Well, Mike was dreaming for some years in the marriage and in his life and this and that, and somehow they got a little disconnected. The dream he was having and the dream that she was having. Until one day, through life's teachings, you all realize you're in divine love school, don't you? That every teaching, every person, every ache, every surgery, every little thing that could happen is just divine love saying, you don't have to be afraid of me. You don't have to be afraid of me. And he had his day of awakening. And from that day on, he's a new man. And he wanted this renewal of ceremony, because guys and anyone else and women, imagine if this was you, that you just wake up from this dream of being sad. You wake up from this dream of being so defensive and so finicky and touching when someone said that. I'm the most sensitive and touchy and finicky of anybody, so I know what I'm talking about. That I need to find a way to defend myself, even when someone is befriending me and giving me a boatload of good advice. And a touchy person is different than a sensitive person. Sensitive person, you need to be sensitive to know yourself, God's self within you. But touchy and finicky, that's that nervous kind of thing, defensive kind of thing. You kind of know the difference. And you get this beautiful good advice, but you just don't hear it. So this whole ceremony that Mike surprised Nancy with the pod around him, was he saying, honey, I've just woke up. And he has woke up. Now, it's a testimony to Nancy for holding unconditional love for him the whole time, and a testimony to this man to have the you-know-what, to stand up in front of his wife and say, you know what, I missed it. I did not get it for all those years, whatever they were. But honey, I'm a different man now. And I promise you that love is going to reign in our home. That love is going to reign in my heart. And there's nothing that I won't do to continue in this new consciousness that I have been graced with. And he's going on, and we're just going, OMG.
Taking our
me.
sarongs.
That's I wish that was me.
The dog came up to be a
Right,
part
the
of it.
dog. And we're all kind of inwardly saying, I wish that was me. I wish I could say, you know, I fooled myself, you know? Amazing grace. Once I was blind, but now I can see. No, it's not that simple. You know, you're blind and then you can see a little bit, but you're still blind. And then you can see a little bit more and you're still blind. But I think my aha from that was that, wow, say to yourself, forgive yourself first of all for fooling yourself. that you've got to be a certain way. You got to defend a certain stance. You got to hold on to the past, whatever that means. And somehow, because you're so damn afraid of the love that is just knocking at our door as beings of light, afraid of it. You don't need to be afraid, because those dolphins teach you this, the pod. First of all, learn to love yourself. Second, we love you, fellow dolphin, fellow soul. We love you. The pod loves you. You're safe with us. You're safe with us. It starts with you knowing you are a soul dolphin. Second, by knowing that the pod loves you. So if we say something, we're not saying it to bring up your stuff. We're not saying this to disempower you, to minimize you, to criticize you. We're saying this because it's love that's talking through our voice, and love is teaching you something in this divine love school of your life. Can you hear it? So when Brian had his experience with the dolphins on that day he proposed to Brittany, we had so many close encounters with those dolphins that, because you're being dragged, so you're getting some water in your goggle and in your glasses and your goggle, and sometimes the mouthpiece comes out and you're coughing and stuff, and then drag and then cough. And
But you go back down for more.
He would come up and for, probably 10 minutes, his only affirmations, "Oh my God!" and put his thing back on, have more, and then up he went, "Oh my God!" You remember that? Oh, and then it changed from "Oh my God," and then once we finished the tow line, he's getting on the boat. He says, "I get it."
He was yelling all the way to the boat. I get it. I get it.
I get it.
I get it.
I get it.
It's not about the the dolphins are the transmitters, but
he got
why
what
he had to be there.
Right, why he had to be there, Bimini, here today in this bodysuit on this planet Earth. Oh my God. Right? And for me on the final day, because it was full moon, it was an eclipse, we've been in a wormhole. I really don't understand what these wormholes are about, but I feel like I've been in one. Holy smokes, man. And for me, this trip was different than any other, and it will always be different from you. That's why we keep going back, because it is a transformational experience to be gotten if you're willing to accept the fact that you are loved. And you're willing to do whatever it takes. And we all know that's really hard. And that's what we're really afraid of. So that eclipse represented for me a real dark night. But I didn't know really I was going in a dark night. I was thinking I was doing some deep soul introspection. So, but I was feeling it's all good. But whoa, wow, look at you, man. So I had my two sides going on. Look at you, Yeah, you do the spiritual stuff. Yeah, you talk and all this stuff. But look at this side. And I'm hearing Brian say, I get it. But then in me, I'm saying, I don't know if I'm getting this thing that I was in the dark part of myself with. I don't know. I don't get it. It's hard. I don't get it. But it was such a powerful eclipse for me that it shook me to my core, which is, quite frankly, the best kind of experience to have. Shake, 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 shake. To your core, baby. Because then it gets really crystal clear, right? If you've been doing the work and you're sincere in your heart, grace is going to come and pick you up by the bootstrap. Yes, it will. You don't know that, but yes, it will. Or the old stuff is going to be in charge of you again. And you're going to continue not to listen to your wife, let's say, or to your friends who are loyal to you and who talk to you and make beautiful suggestions. Just don't. And I'm the king of not hearing. I know I might be a certain way to you all, right? But we all have that something that we're here to overcome in this life. And I was nasty, sensitive, finicky from the day I pooped in my diapers. So the morning of yesterday, on the morning of the night of the eclipse, the next morning, and because all night I was a full moon coming in and this Bimini weather, and I just like this all night, just introspecting, just going, what is going on? Getting to my bottom line, thinking that I was getting clear, and I was getting clear. And it represents this idea. Trisha and I have just returned home after 4 years of letting our house be given over to the kids, her daughter and their family, so that which is mine
Well, they
now,
rented it.
which is mine, so they could get started in life. But we've been gypsies. And so for me, it represents I'm going home. That's what I think started this whole soulful energy. I'm going home. And I realized in this being a gypsy for 4 years, I might have missed some things about really being anchored in myself. And so this going home really represents, regain your power, Regain that which is your dream, man. Don't be so influenced by others' opinions about that dream. First of all, feel it in your heart and let's get it back. So that was the positive side of it. And then the shadow side was kind of, making a big deal about it. But in the morning, Trisha was kind of knowing something was going on with me, and so I thought, well, I could share a little, because I couldn't really talk about it. Imagine me not really talking about it. I knew that
That's when I know something's up.
I knew if I opened my mouth, that I knew that percolating dark side would probably take over, even though I'm really well intentioned and had clarity. So I started talking, and stuff just started coming out of my mouth, and it wasn't the prettiest stuff either, with her. And I'm just going, man, now if you could feel bad about yourself, that was a moment to feel bad about yourself, right? But you have to understand this. But as soon as I've learned over the years to feel bad and not forgive myself and not realize I'm just human temporarily, but I'm divine all the time, and that sort of practice over the years, I snapped it back. So I realized that, wow, you got out, you had to get out and explain why you have betrayed yourself to a certain degree for the past 4 years, so to speak. And it sounded like it was, other people's faults. But my aha was, no, man, no. You've just lost your center a little bit of what I know I can be, and I have pretty high bar. You lost your center a little bit. Now it's time to regain it with more enthusiasm than ever and with more passion than ever. So that's the dolphin experience for me this time. And it's just that grace just kicked in, and throughout the rest of that day, and Trisha and I talked again this morning, and she now got more clear on where I was coming. I'm super clear on where she's coming from, to the point, as you've heard us say before, 7 planets in Scorpio this woman has. 7 planets that oppose my nature, which is Aries and just do it now, right? And this is the right way for sure. Why are you hesitating, right? And then that deep Scorpio nature can feel and kind of insightfully say, wait a minute, don't just jump here. There might be a better way to go about it. And with her deep spiritual nature on top of that, she's usually 100% dead on when there's a little, wait a minute here. But if you're Aries impulsive and that person says something like, Tom, she's told me this since we started teaching yoga together, could you end the class on time? I'm being raw with you guys. Okay. Am I in the soul talk? See what's happening? Oh my God.
You brought it up.
I brought it up. Anyway, yes, ma'am.
Did you know that last Sunday the theme was grace?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Awesome.
That we had here, and we
Yeah.
sent you all just a lot of that.
I know.
Yay. We needed it. 'Cause, are you done? Guess what else happened? Oh, I'll tell you real quick. We had a baby.
The
We had a
grandchild.
baby. We came home to a new baby. Our daughter was supposed to have her baby in June, and that new moon brought it in. So I'm like this, I'm barely within that. Isn't that wonderful? The baby. That's where the pooping in the diapers came from, because we came home and right.
So my old me would say, finish up what I was going to tell you, but not the new me. I'm done. I'm ending on time.
We got it.
See you next week for part 2.
We just scared everyone. No one will ever come to Bimini with us again.
No.
Sorry, Marcia.
God.